Weekend Dunkin'? $2.50 a fucking weekend Dunkin'? You're choosing this over your child. What do you think if 21 bottles in a month?
Each time.
Purchases that are not going to be
Substitute you need them to survive.
Total.
Somewhere in the last 5 years, personal finance stopped being a spreadsheet and became blood sport. We turned how to manage money into a genre, with villains, catchphrases, and a studio audience. People line up, they apply, to sit in a chair and have a stranger read their bank statement out loud like a list of crimes. And honestly, we can't look away. So I want to ask a question. Who is this actually for? Because I don't think it's the person in the chair. To understand how we got here, you have to see that this didn't start on YouTube. It started on the radio, way, way back.
Well, welcome to ID 21. If you have very few of these, but a whole lot of these, you're going to like our show today. We're going to talk to a financial expert. His name is Dave Ramsey, and he's going to tell you all about how to obtain financial peace. Stay with us. Welcome to our Life Matters segment on ID 21. We have a special guest with us today. His name is Dave Ramsey, and he's the author of this book called Financial Peace. He's an expert in regard to finances and also the host of a radio talk show called The Money Game. So welcome to ID 21.
Thanks.
Susan has a whole lot more financial problems than I have, so I'm going to let her ask the first question.
Money, yes. Have you got any samples?
That's right. We bring them with us.
What's the number one question that you get on the air concerning financial problems? What do they want to know?
Concerning financial problems, how to get out of debt.
Yeah.
How do I get out of debt? And I would say the second thing is communication with spouses.
Now, Dave Ramsey has been doing this since the early 90s. He has always presented himself as the expert, the authority on finances. And to achieve that, he leveraged two qualities. One, the fact that he's been through it himself, and he is wealthy. Two, his faith, which he found in his pursuit of wealth.
Folks, me included, that have developed a disease we call stuffitis, and which is just the wrong prioritization of good stuff, where we own so much stuff that it begins to own us.
At one time, you had a lot of stuff and a lot of money.
Yeah, I did.
You may be a wealthy man now, but you were fairly well-to-do at one time.
Well,
how did you accumulate that, and what happened?
We started from nothing, coming out of school, broke, and my church in those days was the positive thinking rallies. That was before I knew the Lord, and took all the positive thinking and the academics and the goal setting and the vision stuff and started buying and selling real estate and made a lot of money. I had over $4 million worth by the time I was 25 years old, and had a lot of debt with it, and made a good income, but just through violating scriptural principles, you can't jump off a building without discovering the law of gravity. Truth is truth is truth, and every time it catches you. You can throw it out there, but it's a boomerang and it keeps coming back. And so eventually we end up losing everything we owned and starting again.
A guy who went bankrupt in his 20s, found religion and a microphone, and built an empire telling Americans to cut up their credit cards. Today, The Ramsey Show reaches millions of listeners every single week. He is the granddaddy of the format. Then there was Susie Orman, in the 2000s, pointing at the camera, telling you were denied.
This may be the biggest denial that I have given all year. Can you tell me why a 23-year-old needs a $42,000 car?
I like to buy very high-end things, and I love my brand.
I could do a whole show on you. What do you want to buy? What do you want to buy? Mike, what do you want to buy?
I want to buy a 1967 Camaro convertible.
The horse farm.
Of course you do. For $514,000.
An Hermes Birkin crocodile handbag.
Susie, I want to go on an African safari and a mountain gorilla excursion. I want to buy a gyrotonic expansion system pulley tower.
You want to buy what?
A 78 Classic Corvette.
You want to spend $10,000 on a gas-eating car.
It's a sweet ride.
What has the world come to that we're spending $30,000 a year for private school? Do you want to say it or do you want me to say it? Denied. Are you ready? Rum, rum. Brakes denied. I am denying you. Wait. Are you surprised?
I'm shocked.
You are denied, denied, denied. You have been what?
I am so denied.
So denied. You are 15 38, 48, 38, 44 years of age. Now, girlfriend, listen to me. You are 57 years of age without a pot to pee in. You don't have enough money here. You're going to work 2 full months to go to 1 game. You don't have enough in your emergency fund. You are way underinsured. You need more in retirement. You don't have a 529
The
plan.
template was already there. One expert, one ordinary person, one moment of judgment. Daytime TV with a calculator. These TV gigs eventually became full-on shows where Susie gives long talks about America's favorite subject, money.
Expert Susie Orman is back with all new advice for these challenging times.
Today, we are going to start a new movement that we're calling the New American Dream.
That's it right there. That's the real pull. We all want the American dream, don't we? But the format was waiting for a host who'd take the gloves all the way off. Enter Caleb Hammer.
You don't like the rubber?
No. When she had her baby and she wasn't working.
Her baby. You guys hearing the fucking words?
Well,
Absolutely dumb. What the fuck are we doing? They just told me you haven't been paying on the cards for a couple months. Did you know this?
God, no.
A music composition dropout from Kalamazoo who got himself into credit card debt eating fast food on credit, then got obsessed with digging out, pointed a camera at himself, and started auditing strangers.
You too. Nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you too. I enjoy your content.
Thank you.
You're a very sensible person, and you deal with a lot of very unsensible people. How do you fucking keep your shit together when you talk to these people? We tell everybody you're a finance guy, and did you start out in debt and then figured out how to get your shit together?
Yeah, exactly. I was in college doing all the stupid American things, right? So you got that unlimited student loan debt for a bullshit degree. I was going for music composition, so complete bullshit degree. Maxing out every credit card. One of the first pieces of financial advice I got at 18 from the parents, max out a credit card to get the piano I wanted. So that's smart.
Your parents gave you that
it's just the average American experience. You just max out a credit card. I don't know if your parents taught you anything about personal finances, but most don't. It's bad. So I was just maxing out every credit card, like everyone that comes on the show, like every American out there. We got $1.6 trillion in credit card debt in this country, by the way.
Woo.
Crazy amount. Defaults are to like 7%. Which is insane. 7% of credit cards defaulting.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And that is really nuts.
Yeah,
Almost
it's crazy.
1 out of 10 default.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. But we have more auto loan debt in this country than credit cards too.
Really?
Which is even crazier because Americans, they're big pickup trucks and everything. But either way, I was doing that. Got my Nissan Altima and, thinking I was sick driving around and going into debt for that, family debt, everything. It was brutal, but it was the average American life. That's what people are going through every single day. And I finally got a wake-up call. I was sitting in my shitty apartment that I could barely afford, and I realized the life I wanted to live just could not be sustained this way. I wanted to be a homeowner. It's the American dream, pick a fence, all that shit.
Yeah.
But there's no way to do it with maxed out credit cards, private student loans, public student loans, everything. It was a mess. So got a sales job, just started grinding it out, paying off the debt, fully funded emergency fund. And that's what I try to teach people now. But, again, the average American is kind of an idiot with money.
The show is called Financial Audit. It launched in 2022. By late 2025, it had crossed 2 billion views and become the single biggest membership channel on YouTube. He signed with one of Hollywood's top talent agencies. A sitting state governor came on to get audited.
Ladies and gentlemen, special episode today with the governor of Michigan. I'm going to be auditing the state's finances.
You got to use tariffs like a scalpel, not a sledgehammer to
That's
everything.
a political talking point right there. I've never heard one of those in person. That's wild. Food stamps, let's just say, or food assistance. Have we set up our systems in a way we're also just discouraging people from going out there and being contributors? This is the part of the show where I usually go through the spending, and it's like, we got some bullshit spending in there. We got some fucking taquitos. This is some bullshit. Yeah, you're stopping in the gas station, get yourself some bullshit.
Off.
Political extremism. It's scary. Yeah. What do you think is going on with political extremism right now, and how would you solve it?
Your blood got thin moving down south, didn't it?
Talk radio became daytime TV, became YouTube. Same chair, same judgment, just louder, longer, and algorithmically optimized. Okay, here's the thing. These shows are built like game shows, and I can prove it because the structure never changes. Every financial audit runs the same 4 beats. The intro, where we meet the guest, the breakdown, where the bank statements go up on screen, the confrontation, that's the part you came for, and then, at the very end, the plan. The structure is so reliable, you can drop into any episode cold and know exactly where you are. That's not an accident, that's design. It's the same reason you can turn on any episode of a cooking competition and immediately know if you're in the cook or the judging. Now watch how the show is actually made. Guests don't wander in off the street, they apply. They are vetted for the most interesting life stories. They use fake names. They are paid to travel to Austin to film. With framing that makes pretty routine money problems look way more scandalous than they actually are. Read that again. The financial problems are sometimes normal. The packaging is what makes them feel like a car crash. Ramsey's version is gentler, but it's the exact same skeleton. Caller intro, the debt reveal, okay, how much do you owe? The diagnosis, and the prescription. Always the same prescription. We'll get to that prescription because it's where this stops being entertainment and starts being advice people actually follow. Now, if I just spent 20 minutes dunking on these guys, I'd be doing the exact lazy thing I'm accusing them of. So let me be honest about what they get right, because it's more than the haters admit. Start with Ramsey's most famous idea, the debt snowball. You list your debts smallest to largest, ignoring interest rates, and you attack the smallest one first. Now, mathematically, that's wrong. Paying the highest interest rate first saves you more money. Every calculator agrees. Except the math isn't the point. In 2012, researchers at Northwestern's Kellogg School looked at how 6,000 real people actually got out of debt. The people who knocked out small balances first were more likely to eliminate their debt entirely. Harvard Business Review found the same thing in 2016. What keeps people going isn't the size of the payment, it's the feeling of fully closing an account. A small win you can see beats a big win you can't feel. Ramsey says it himself, personal finance is 20% head knowledge and 80% behavior. And on that, he's basically right. The snowball is mathematically suboptimal and psychologically brilliant. It's a behavioral hack dressed as a money rule. And for someone who has failed to get out of debt 5 times, that hack can be the difference. Same for Caleb.
33 on a Discover It card, Sam's Club card 226, JCPenney card was paid off, an Ulta card was also paid off, and same with Mercy's card. And then we had student loans. That was a chunky federal student loans of $70,000, and private student loans also chunky, even though it was lower rates of 6.2% for private. For private, it's considered lower. For federal, that would be kind of high, but $74,000 there. And just low checking account balances, low savings, and there's basically no emergency fund. It was $800. So, a year. What has happened?
So, right before I came on the show last time, I had sort of done a balance transfer for the Discover It card to a city card. So I did pay that off before the interest accrued. So the Discover is gone. The city I kept open, but it's empty, mostly because I'd have to call in to close it, and I didn't want to.
Sure.
So all of my credit cards are gone or paid off every month.
Wow.
Yep.
For all the yelling, the core message to a 26-year-old who has never once looked at where their money goes is not wrong. Spend less than you earn. Stop financing burritos. Look at the number. There are real people who paid off real debt because a loud man on the internet finally made them open the banking app. And here's the part I'll defend hardest. They made personal finance click. A kid who would never in a million years read a personal finance book or click into a forum about index funds will watch a 90-minute audit like it's reality TV. That is a genuine public good. Attention is the scarcest resource in financial literacy, and these guys cracked it. Here's where it goes wrong. The advice is calibrated for one very specific person. Broke, impulsive, no plan, and then sold to everyone, including people it actively hurts. Number 1. Sometimes the math is just wrong. Ramsey tells people the stock market returns about 12% a year. Build your whole retirement around that number, and you get his most dangerous idea: that you can pull 8% of your savings out every year in retirement and never run out. The problem is that almost every serious researcher who has studied this says it's how you go broke. Morningstar's late 2025 work puts the safe number at about 3.9%, less than half of Ramsey's. The flaw is something called sequence of returns risk. If the market drops in your first few years of retirement while you're pulling out 8%, you lock in losses you can never recover from. Susie Orman, no radical, now says retirees should take 3% and calls the old 4% rule dangerous. Even the most generous independent simulations show an 8% rate failing a huge share of the time. And the tell isn't that he's wrong. Everyone's wrong sometimes. The tell is that when his own team corrected him, he said he'd delete their video. The confidence is the product. Being questioned is the threat. Number 2, $1,000 won't save you. Baby step 1, save $1,000 starter emergency fund. That number was set over a decade ago, and it has never moved. In 2026, $1,000 is not an emergency fund. It's most of 1 month's rent in a lot of the country. 1 transmission, 1 ER visit. The number is frozen in a world that doesn't exist anymore, but it still gets repeated like scripture. Number 3, all debt is sin. Ramsey's worldview is that debt is a moral failing. Never use a credit card. Ever. Cut them up. Don't even care about your credit score. And for a compulsive spender, fine. Take the scissors. But sold to everyone, this is just bad. A credit card used responsibly is fraud protection, rewards, and the credit history you'll need to rent an apartment or get a mortgage that isn't predatory. Treating a 0% car loan and a payday loan as the same moral category isn't wisdom, it's a sermon, and it produces shame. Which, and this is the irony, is the exact thing that makes people worse with money. There's a version of this advice that's a diet so strict, you binge. No fun until you're debt-free sounds disciplined. For a lot of people, it's a crash diet. Restrict, white knuckle, burn out, relapse. Ask anyone who's fallen off a Ramsey plan and felt like a moral failure for buying a coffee. Number 4, the blind spot. But the deepest problem is what the whole genre refuses to see. It assumes the problem is always you, always behavior, never the system. Sometimes the answer really is stop door dashing. But sometimes the person did everything right and got hit by a $4,000 medical bill, or childcare that costs more than their rent, or wages that haven't moved in 20 years. Just make more money is not a financial plan. And the show's own casting hides this. When you select guests for the most dramatic, most self-inflicted stories, you train millions of viewers to believe that everyone broke is broke because they're stupid. That's not literacy. That's a worldview. And it's a flattering one if you're comfortable. Because here's what finally made this all make sense to me. The advice isn't the product. You are the product. Follow the money, and the whole genre snaps into focus. Ramsey Solutions is an empire. There's Financial Peace University, the courses, the books, the budgeting app, the subscriptions. When he tells you to invest, he points you towards SmartVestor pros, advisors who pay to be in his referral network. The free advice is the top of a funnel, and the funnel has a gift shop. Caleb runs the same playbook, just younger. Hammer Elite memberships, the DollarWise budgeting app, Master Your Budget, Master Your Money courses, merch, a Be on the Show pipeline. The audit is free because the audit is an ad. And notice who pays and who gets paid. The guest in the chair is content. They get yelled at for free. Well, for travel reimbursement. The audience watching gets sold to. The host monetizes the spectacle of one person's bad month, multiplied by millions of viewers. The worse the guest looks, the better the clip performs, the bigger the funnel. When the advice and the worldview come from the same mouth, you are not just buying a budgeting method, you are buying his. Which brings us back to the question from the very beginning. Who is this for? Because I don't think most people watch a 90-minute financial audit to learn how to budget. I think we watch for 3 reasons, and none of them are on the label. 1. It feels good to watch someone doing worse than you. At least I'm not that bad is a genuinely pleasant feeling, and these shows serve it on tap. With a self-improvement label, so you don't have to feel weird about it. 2. It's discipline by proxy. If you can't yell at yourself about your spending, you can rent a man who will. It feels like progress to watch someone else get told off. It usually isn't. 3. And this is the uncomfortable one. It's class tourism. A camera pointed at someone's worst financial decisions, packaged for an audience that mostly came to gawk. The people who genuinely need a financial intervention are rarely the ones binging finance content at midnight. The people watching mostly don't need the lesson, and the people who need the lesson aren't watching. That's the whole trick. So look, if Caleb made you open your banking app for the first time in a year, good. If Ramsey's snowball got you out of debt, genuinely good. Keep the part that worked. Use the spectacle as the on-ramp. Just don't mistake the on-ramp for the destination.